Hi YouTube, I am Mama Earth. We are one. I would like to touch on the Dwayne Wade son slash daughter. I know that they're doing a documentary and they are making it seem like this child was born that way. But in actuality, if you do extensive research, you will notice people who end up with identity dysphoria, they're people who had traumatic childhoods. For example, the breaking up of a marriage, mom and dad not getting along, dad going off on his own into doing whatever and not giving the child attention. A lot of times kids will do things to seek that attention. Right now, Dwayne Wade has a whole documentary and is surrounded by this young man. This young man says, well, you have to live your truth. And he's sounding so mature. And you have all you have Robin Givens who are, who's saying, oh, he's so mature, and they're referring to him as her. She is so mature and all this other stuff. What you're doing, you are actually giving him the attention that he's been seeking. He wasn't able, I bet you, in the family dynamic, when the new baby was coming along, there were certain things that this young man was probably not feeling like he was getting enough attention. Because mom and dad split up, and it was a tumultuous relationship, and it wasn't like they both went their separate way, and it was done in an amicable way. Dad respected mom. Dad made sure mom was taken care of. That wasn't the case. There was, like the interview that the ex-wife did, that she said that the little boy would cry to be with his dad. Now that Dwayne Wade has custody, this boy now he has the stepmom who's a super famous person, and has the dad who's super famous, and he's trying to fit in. And how do you get a conversation to be about you? How do you get a conversation to be about you? Okay? So this young boy is screaming for attention, and instead of them giving him private attention, they put it out into the public. So if this boy changes his mind later on, he's going to have a hard time. Like, he hasn't even hit real puberty, which is 14, 15. He's not even 16 yet. So at 12 years old, saying that he knew from the time he was 3, 3-year-olds want to eat candy in the morning. If you give them candy, they will eat it. I have a 5-year-old who wants to eat candy all day, every day. If I gave him candy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, he would enjoy it. At what point as a parent do you parent? And it is sad when you have a society that's trying to push this unhealthy agenda. Instead of dealing with the problem, they want to take a famous face and attach it to and attach it to, so that way everybody can accept it. But the truth is, when you are a child, anything that becomes, that disturbs that unity, that disturbs that peace, will create a whole lot of things in your mind. I can tell you this, when I was younger, I kid you not, I always tell my story when I disagree with someone else's point, because I'm trying to show you how I can relate. When I was younger, when I was 14, my home life was tumultuous, and I'm the youngest. I'm the youngest. Well, not really. I'm not the youngest, but I'm somewhere in between. Okay, which one am I? My dad had 4 other children after me, and then he had the other my older siblings. So therefore I'm not quite the middle child, but I'm somewhere in there. And I used to want to get attention so bad by any means necessary, to the point that at some point I began to identify as a male, because the males in my family would get a lot more attention. They would get praises. They were loved. They were adored. And there wasn't this, I wasn't left out. Okay? So therefore, for a long time, I wanted to be a male. Until this day, due to my trauma, when I noticed how powerful men are and everything about males, I have this issue with me being a female. So therefore, we have to deal with, this is what happened with parents. A lot of times when parents split up, they always say, well, the kids will be just fine. The kids don't get a say so. They simply say the kids will be just fine. And then they split up and they go hook up with other people. And they don't ask the child for their opinion, like, hey, well, how do you feel about this? They don't ask their opinion. They simply do it. And then the child has to just adopt. Meanwhile, the child is still trying to heal and trying to understand what's happening to them. They begin to feel insecure. Am I going to see the other parent? Is the other parent going to love me? Am I going to be replaced? Dwayne Wade child is looking for attention. And he certainly got it. He got it. Not at the expense of embarrassing his father, because I don't know if they're embarrassed. They're probably not, because they're doing a whole documentary about it. But the fact that they switch his name to, instead from Zion to Zaya, and instead of saying, look, son, I understand how you feel. But right now, because you're so young and we love you and we want to protect you, we don't think that's a good time. We're going to deal with this in a private setting. But instead, you do a whole documentary and capitalizing on it and becoming the face of the transgender community. Now, a lot of you, especially transgender people, many of you are you're going to disagree with me. And you're going to disagree for whatever reason. But many of you are not going to really deal with your truth. And the truth is, throughout your life, there was a lot of instability. And there was there was a gender that you felt close with, that nurtured you and protected you. And because you don't want to be associated with the sex that was bad, so therefore you want to be the gender that is good. And especially if when you dress like a woman, you get all this attention, you can make money from it and all this other stuff, why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you do it? For a long time, like when I was in my youth, I felt like I wanted to be a male. I even felt like I was a male because I can understand male. I can relate to them. I like to do the things men do. I like the freedom. I love the freedom that they have. And I wanted that freedom. I wanted that freedom. And I wanted to have the strength too. Now, had I had people in my life who put me on hormone drugs for me to transition into a male, I would have been a male today. But here's the thing. I would have never had the chance to enjoy the beauty of being a woman because I didn't know better. I didn't understand my power. And I didn't understand my power until I went to therapy, and this man, strong man, broad man, who I've always wanted to be like them, said to me how powerful I was. And when I realized my own power as a woman and my every being of being a woman, then I started accepting and loving the fact that I was born into this woman's body. I can still relate to a man. I still like to drink beer I like to drink beer and I like to belch and I like to have, pass gas like I like to do what they call, quote unquote, masculine. The freedom. The freedom of masculinity. So therefore with Dwayne Wade, does it ever occur to them that there's a possibility that their son just admired the freedom of a woman and because he's probably surrounded by powerful women? That could be it. Especially if dad wasn't the kind of man to put his foot down and say, you know what, and stand for himself and stand for it. Especially if that was the case, if his masculinity was overpowered, and we have with this new movement where they're saying toxic masculinity and making it seem like males are bad and all this other stuff. Did it ever occur to anyone that could be the case? That could be what's happening. That could be it. But whatever this agenda is, that agenda is toxic. That agenda is not healthy. You can still have population control without trying to, without, making men seem like they're the worst, without women being like, oh, I'm the man or whatever. It doesn't have to be that way. There is no such thing, in my opinion. There is no such thing as a man role and a woman role. Both men and women are equally powerful. They each have their strengths and their weaknesses. Are we going to talk about that instead? But are we going to, now with that being said, there's nothing wrong with somebody being gay. There's a difference with being gay than somebody who hates himself, who hates the body he was born in. If you are a transgender person, you simply hate the body you were born in. And that is not self-love. And that is not living your true self. That is not living your true self. Because mentally you are conflicting with what nature put you in. This is why suicide rate in those communities are high. Because the conflict is not so much about whether you were born in the wrong body. The conflict is accepting the body and loving the body you were born in. Loving and accepting the freedom in the body that you're in. All right, guys, with that being said, I'm not going to continue on this rant. If you share a different opinion from me, if you are a transgender person and you disagree with me, but make sure you do some soul search before you disagree. Make sure you do some soul searching. Make sure you evaluate your background, everything that happened from the time that you were a child till the age that you are, whatever age you are. Make sure you evaluate that first. And make sure you ask yourself, what is it about being a male that I see that's been pushed to me, that's been negative, that's been so terrible? What is it about being a woman that's been pushed to me that is so terrible that I hate? Now, I would accept somebody being transgender and saying that they're a woman. I would accept you saying that you're being a woman if scientifically they can put a uterus in you and you would have a monthly cycle every month. Now, after you get those period cramps and those mood swings and you can get pregnant and give birth to a baby, if you at that point still want to be a woman, then I'm going to believe that you're truly a woman. Then I'll believe that. But anything after that, what you're feeling is self-hate because somewhere along the line, there was too much dominance or lack of in whatever situation you grew up in. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Be sure to check out www.mamaearth1.com. That is www.mamaearth1.com. And this is how I, my goal is to raise funds so I can get this information out there, because I think people need to hear this and people need to know this before they jump and say, oh, my child is born in the wrong body. Before you encourage it, make sure that your child is truly, truly that way. And make sure it's not just self-hate. Because they might be coming out to you and making it and being like, oh wow, I am this, I am, I am a woman, and they might come out to you and they might seem very mature and they may seem like they have their mind made up, but all that is a show. Just like a lot of time women would be in abusive situations. They're getting beat by their husbands and they'll still put on a show and pretend that they are in the most wonderful relationship. So let's talk about these deeper issues. Let's talk about those. I know we're talking about them to a certain extent, but let's put more celebrity faces. Let's really talk about it. Let's delve deeper into it. All right, guys. I got to get out of here. I am Mama Earth. We are one. Bye for now. Oh, make sure you like and share, and check me out. Go on my Facebook channel, on my Facebook page, and give me thumbs up and love when you listen to some of my lives. Okay, bye for now.